Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everyone. We're joined by Shane Magnuson on a Saturday. He's the owner-operator of Upper Columbia Guide Service. I don't need to throw the river in there. Also, he's with Yakima Bait. We're going to talk about the buy three, get one free deal going on over at Fisherman's Marine. This particular one starts on the 1st of July. It's the Gear Up for Buoy 10 sale. And number one, your new bait is going to be extremely popular for that fishery this year.
Absolutely. It's been tested down there already, as I'm sure some of you know. But
yeah, for a while.
It's going to work good.
It's been very successful already, or very productive this year for springers. This morning, I guarantee you that there's been some fish getting bit down or getting caught down there in the head of the channel with them. Lots of folks have really made a switch to them. They have a different bit of a spin. You can stuff them with bait. You can not stuff them with bait. There's a number of things that you can do to fish them. And I know you know all about them because you kind of designed them, didn't you?
Right. Yeah. And it's exciting to see people are really starting to figure them out. You know?
Yeah.
I'm getting pictures daily.
I bet you are. I know that you, as a professional, you use all of these. Let's get a shot with that Kershaw Tech Cam if we can. All those different pieces of the puzzle for the buy three, get one free deal, all the way to the blades from Mulkey and the Hildebrandt spinners. Very, very popular. You've got a bunch of them set up here. Going into that fall Chinook season, though, if you, as a professional, generally got 6 or 7 or 8 rods going in your boat, I like to call that cheating. That's just because he outfishes everybody. What do you like to do? I mean, I know that the easy answer is, well, I let the fish tell me what to do. But as a professional, and you've got clients out there that aren't very good fishermen, maybe sometimes, not always, is there baits that are easier for your clients to fish as another, when you're talking about spinners, to stuff for baits, either be the spinning fish or the cut plug?
Absolutely, and what I find is, depending on how tides are running and how hard your flashers are working, can determine a little bit on what they want. You're going to get more action out of a spin fish in the cut plug because it's a lot lighter weight.
Sure.
Where the spinners have a little more drag, and sometimes they're not snapping as hard behind a flasher, and that can play a big difference on how fast you're trolling, you know, based on tides and what they're going to snap at versus what they're not. So, you know, I go out with a gamut of things, obviously, and kind of throw the kitchen sink at them, but I'm also going to do my homework and look at those tides and see where we're at.
Okay, so you mentioned looking at the tides. Does that dictate how you're going to fish? I mean, obviously, you know, you want to catch the right part of the tide if you can, but you're talking about how your flashers are working. So tell everybody what that really means. So on a heavy outgoing tide, you might have more pressure on your flashers, and then on an incoming, what does that really do for you?
Absolutely. You get a heavy outgoing, your flashers, if you're running the 360 stuff, is going to fish real hard. They're going to thump real hard, and you're going to struggle to slow them down a little bit. Well, the harder they thump, they're going to put way more action on your lure. You may get bit a little better out of a lure that has some resistance, like a spinner, where it's getting dragged because it's not snapping so hard behind that flasher. And you may catch more coho off something that is being snapped harder.
Okay.
So you're kind of playing that game of getting that right action based on, you know, troll speed and current.
Now, is that something that you're looking at your rod action, like on that old school, you know, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1 kind of rhythm? You start seeing that speed up, then you know that you're kicking a little bit too hard? Yeah,
absolutely. You're going to see that rod action really pick up with your speed. I mean, you may be going over ground over 3-4 miles an hour, but your rod's still not working super hard because of currents down there and things.
Sure, especially buoy 10, right? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. You got the tide change on the bottom and everything else.
Yep, but you'll see that switch to, you know, maybe you change a direction or the tide switches a little bit, and all of a sudden now your rod's thumping real hard, but you're not moving as fast over ground.
Sure.
And so you're again playing that game of really watching your gear, because GPS may not show you quite as much.
So the most important thing is what the rod's telling you, not what your electronics are telling you. All right, so
you got currents going everywhere down there.
Oh yeah, all over the place, depending on where you're at in. Okay, so it makes sense. So electronics, super important. Your Marine units are going to tell you how fast you're going over speed over ground. But if your rod's just barely working, you probably got to kick it up a little bit or figure something else out, or vice versa, if it's working too hard. Behind the 360s, of course, you like to run Pro Trolls. I'm sure you run other versions as well. Is there a particular bait that you would change to in those kind of conditions? Would you like shrink your cut plug from the full-size model or back and forth, depending on what it's doing back there?
You know, the bigger one versus the 2.5 size, I find that tends to be a fish preference. They're both lightweight. They're both going to snap hard behind there. Obviously, you put a little more bait in the bigger one, which will give it some weight. But I find fisheries where you just kind of find a preference. When I fishing spring Chinook up at Wind and Drano this spring, I liked the bigger one. The bigger one fished really well out at the Wind. Now, I know when I go to a summer Chinook fishery or like that Buoy 10 fishery, I know I'm going to like the smaller one better. And I don't know if it's a water temperature, if it's a feed they're on, but you're going to bounce back and forth between the two.
That's a good point, because you can have different food sources that they're keen on different size baits.
Yeah.
Okay, because down at Buoy 10, they are actively feeding. It's not something like being way up on the Columbia where they're not necessarily actively feeding. Interesting. Spinners, though, are something that I want to talk about this upcoming segment. I want to save one for a little bit longer segment here with our Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. I want to talk more about the two different sizes of the cut plug and spinners. You kind of mentioned it already on how and when you might want to make a change, because there are so many different versions of blades now, and there's no doubt that you love to fish spinners in the right situation, right? All right, we're going to have that with Shane when we come back from this break. Don't miss it. We'll be back with that Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week with Shane Magnuson in just a couple of minutes.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Chevy Silverado and the impressive Turbo Max engine. Flex your muscle with the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Official truck of Outdoor GPS.